Welcome back to the Wiki tutorial video series. My name is Tom Albany with Biostack Global Consulting. In this video, we will describe unweighted proportion plots. You may recall that tabular output for unweighted indicators were the topic of a recent video. If the user requests it, those same indicators also make graphic figures that we call unweighted proportion plots. These figures appear in a subfolder of the Wiki output folder. Recall that the user specifies the Wiki output folder in block B of the Wiki control program. Let's navigate now to the output folder for our analysis of District 20 data. There are two subfolders that hold graphic figures. The one named plots_IW_UW holds inchworm plots, where the IW stands for inchworm, and unweighted proportion plots, where UW stands for unweighted. Inchworm plots have the string IWPlot in their file name, and unweighted proportion plots have the string UWPlot in theirs. Let's look at the output for RI_qual_03, the proportion of children who received an invalid dose of Penta 1. If you look at the tabular output and graphical output for the unweighted indicators, you will see a very simple correspondence. Both the figures and the tables have one row per stratum. Both the tables and the figures list the proportion that was observed in the sample and list the number of respondents in the denominator. The graphic figure has a horizontal scale running from 0% to 100%, and each row holds a small triangle to represent the sample proportion. One important difference concerns the order in which the rows are presented. In the tabular output, the user specifies the order of the rows via a set of small datasets that list the names of the strata and the order in which they should appear in the output. The order of the rows is not affected by the outcome of the indicator. For the figures, however, the rows are sorted to show strata with low proportions near the bottom and those with higher proportions near the top. So for different outcomes, the rows may be ordered differently. In the District 20 example, there are 3 strata. In the tabular output for RI_qual_03, the results from District 20 appear in the first row, and then results for boys follow next, and then girls are listed in the third row. If we look at the graphic output for that indicator, we see that girls have the highest proportion, so they appear at the top. Boys have the lowest proportion, so they appear at the bottom of the figure. And District 20 is an average of the figures for boys and girls, so it appears in the middle of the figure. For the next indicator, RI_qual_04, the tabular results are presented in the same order as RI_qual_03, but the graphic results appear in a different order. Boys have the highest proportion, so their row appears at the top of the figure. District 20 is quite simple. In later videos, we will examine output from Wiki runs with even more administrative levels of strata. Those from districts nested within provinces nested within a country. In those situations, the rows are still ordered to show levels with higher coverage near the top and lower coverage near the bottom, but the nested strata are portrayed near their parent or aggregate strata, so the appearance can look a little more complicated. We will see examples of that in later videos. Finally, a word about the colors of the graphical markers. Wiki uses a default set of blue colors to show markers in unweighted proportion plots. The shades of blue are specified in parameter files in your Wiki program folders. If you wish to customize the colors, to use a different set of colors than those shown by default, you can edit the RGB values, the red and green and blue values, in those Wiki color files. Look for details on how to do just that in a future video and in a future annex of the Wiki User's Guide. The current document does not address this topic, but we will include it in a forthcoming update. In the meantime, if you want to change the colors in Wiki figures, post a question to the TechNet21 Users Group website and we will post the details there. To sum up, Unweighted proportion plots show the same information that you find in the tabular output for your unweighted proportions. In fact, the figure contains all of the numbers from the tabular output in addition to a graphical representation of the proportions. The two differences are that the figures sort the strata, or rows, with higher coverage near the top of the figure, whereas the tabular output always lists the strata in a fixed order that does not depend on outcome values. The second difference is that the figures use different colors to indicate which administrative level the stratum belongs to. If this video was helpful, check out the companion videos on inchworm plots from Weighted Indicators. Other steps that you might take next are to leave a comment or a question regarding this video on its page on the Users Group website. See the link below. You can also join the Wiki Users Group at TechNet21.